Sorry, I'm just here to vent a bit. I used to be a fairly normal guy with no exceptional abilities to brag about, but all of that changed when I got lost in a national park during a visit to Maine. I've always been bad with directions, to the point that I used to always arrive late the first few times I visited a place, even when using a GPS. But I didn't have a GPS that day, just a backpack full of snacks and a vague direction that I was supposed to follow to find my friend's campsite. I was told via radio that I couldn't miss it, yet somehow I found a way. Then I broke the radio after falling down a hill. I thought I kept the direction straight, but I wandered long enough to know I was screwed. I'm not going to spend too much time on what happened next, because I know you'll never believe me. And that's fine, but I still have to tell it like it happened. I was having a pity snack when a raccoon popped out of nowhere and sniffed at the base of my bag. I pulled out a couple of granola bars and threw them a few feet away. All I wanted to do was keep the creature away from me, and it worked for a short while. While the raccoon was occupied, I slipped behind it and tried to go back the way I had come. But then the raccoon appeared before me. It carried a black stone in its front paws and tentatively placed it near my feet. I picked up the thank you gift as soon as the raccoon backed off a few feet. I had never known raccoons to be so smart, so I said, "Thank you," pretty sure that it would get my meaning even if it couldn't understand my words. However, the creature responded,
You're welcome, but that's no ordinary stone. That's Azuban's pebble. It will grant you one wish after you rub it.
It took me a moment to fully understand what had been said, and by that time the raccoon had already scurried away. I tried to follow it, but only got more lost. So I looked closer at the rock. It was hard to describe. Very black, but not like that Vantablack stuff. It was still shiny and gleamed even as the sunlight started to fade away. With nothing to lose, I rubbed the stone between my thumb and index finger. I thought about wishing to be with my friends. That'd be super helpful, but was not exactly a satisfying way to use my one and only wish. But wishing for $100 million would also do me no good if I starved before getting to spend it. I was also a little afraid of my wish backfiring. What if I got my money, found a way out, and then realized my newfound wealth all came from the retirement accounts of grandmothers? Of course, I thought at that point that nothing would happen. I very obviously hit my head while falling down the hill earlier, and I was still hallucinating everything since then. Still, I thought hard for a good wish, just in case. Well, you know what I wished for. It wasn't for my name to become Quinton, so obviously I rubbed that stone while asking to have the most amazing, fantastic luck anyone could ever have. I knew it worked right away, because the stone turned gray before my eyes. I still found it hard to believe in the talking raccoon, but even that must have been real. The next clearing I entered housed my friends. I came in wiping sweat from my brow at the exact moment Chad missed a beer thrown to him. It sailed towards me, and I caught it easily. That weekend was definitely the best of my life up to that point. Long story short, I was able to shoo away a bear, spontaneously come up with the greatest ghost story around the campfire, snap an amazing photo of a deer with a butterfly on its nose, and generally was always in the right place at the right time. The absolute best part was interacting with my crush, Eric. I kept coming up with the exact right thing to say in the moment, and have never been so charming before or since. We ended the weekend with my first kiss. Since then, I've won the lottery 3 times. Every business opportunity I've invested in has made money. I was planning on playing in the World Series of Poker, but I ended up with more money than I could ever spend in my lifetime before the next tournament even started. By then, I was actually a little tired of making money. I ended up exploring a lot of new hobbies and traveling all around the world. No matter where I went or what I did, I found myself fitting in and excelling. I've noticed that my luck does seem muted over the internet. For example, I couldn't type a sentence here and expect it to resonate with the hundreds of people who see it. But in person, I'd be able to accidentally guess what number you're thinking, 100 times out of 100. So you're probably wondering where it all went wrong. At what point does the other shoe drop? The raccoon come back and reveal there was another condition, or maybe that my good luck was at the expense of everyone else's. I know because that was my big fear in the beginning, but I've been lucky for the past 3 years now, and so far nothing has changed. I never saw that raccoon or anything else supernatural again. I remain the luckiest person in the world. I can't fail at anything anymore, no matter how hard I try. You probably don't understand. I didn't need a malevolent force to turn up and ruin my life. I did it myself. I'm not sure if I can ever explain it properly, but one example is how Eric and I broke up. Everything was perfect, every day, every night, but I never stopped feeling like a fraud. I never had to think about what I would say. I just impulsively said what was needed. I never had to put any thought into any action. I could spend hours trying to think of the perfect anniversary gift, or just randomly pick up something from the store. Whatever it was would always turn out to have a deeper meaning to Eric. I stopped caring what I did, said, and eventually thought. For a while, I was happy to coast through life. Then I came to understand that everything was kind of meaningless. None of my choices mattered. Regardless of how many doors life presented to me, the one I chose was always the correct one. Once I realized this, it felt like my whole life was on a linear track. I broke up with Eric because he could never truly relate to what I was going through, and he honestly deserved better. The words that spilled from my mouth and made him smile weren't my own. No thought or care went into them. The worst part was I had been taking him for granted. It's so easy to take everything for granted now, so there's nothing I truly care for. I've got a few other guys I'm seeing, but I don't even have to bother remembering their names. I accidentally call them by the right one every time. I don't know if I'm properly conveying how much of a nightmare life has become. Just trust me. But there's one thing that I'm not good at. The worst thing from my current perspective. I've tried many methods. Poison, car accidents, cutting, shooting, hanging, and several other creative attempts. But I can't tell you how many times I've woken up in a hospital bed to a doctor telling me,
Quinton, you have no idea how lucky you are.
Hey guys and ladies, thanks for watching. Send your story or creepypasta to the email in the description. My merch, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Discord are down there too. Anything you do to help support the channel is much appreciated. Likes and up. I am working on True Scary Stories Hotel. I'm just trying to get like one more good one. One more good story. So, keep an eye out for that. Be good to animals, even people. So.
Ja, snämma, Bergsbus, Rish.
I knew it worked right away. Yeah, I knew she was gonna do that because there's a fucking dog outside. Ripley, I'm reading a story. It's okay. That's enough.
I was having a pity snack when a raccoon popped out of nowhere and sniffed at the base of my bag. This raccoon's getting on his nuts.